basically pick it from where it is. So if you guys are interested, you can just drop your questions there. If you're interested in joining the space in order to ask questions directly, you're also free to request mic. I have put in the comments a link to a brief explanation on the procedure for WIDU. So what is WIDU? In short, I will not go to the story of, the official explanation of what WIDU is. Just understand that WIDU is this funding instrument, which is, operated by the German International Development Agency, GIZ. And in this funding instrument called WIDU.africa, or WIDU in German, the German government recognized that a lot of us who live in Europe, particularly in Germany, support so many of our people back home on, money that we send, which goes into consumption. Your uncle's child is going to school, you need to somehow help them. Your uncle is ill, you need to somehow send them money. Your mother is buying a new dress, you need to send her money. Your son, some of us have children back home, your son is plowing his farm, he needs money. So what the German government saw was it was not sustainable, right? Because a lot of the money that we send to our families in Africa, mostly, and some parts of Asia, for those who come from Asia, that money was going into financing consumption. So none of that money was going to remain. It was, you send 100 euros today, that's around 15,000 Kenyan shillings. It's just spent in the next 1 week or 1 month. And then the person comes back for the next, batch of 100 euros. So what the Germans did was they said, okay, suppose you converted this monthly contribution, the so-called black tax, into a sustainable support for this person back in Africa, in Asia, well, in Africa for now, where you then send them some seed capital to start a business. You first agree with this person, hey, do you think there is something you can do that will allow you that will enable you not to be coming back to me every time for handouts? And the person says, yes, I am a trained tailor from Cheptarit Village Polytechnic, or I'm a plumber from Eldoret Polytechnic, or I'm an electrician from the University of Nairobi, or I am a food science graduate from Jomo Kenyatta University. Each of them, they want to start something. Or I am basically, a class 8 or class 7 dropout, and I am busy on my farm, either doing vegetable farming, doing maize farming, or doing poultry keeping, or doing pig, farming or husbandry. So what you then do is you say, okay, what is it that I can do for you, my cousin, my uncle, my mother, my brother, my sister, my brother-in-law, to enable you start a sustainable business, A, and B, a business that is able to generate income for you, and C, a business that will also employ both you as a business owner. And employment here means that business needs to pay you some money and employ an extra person. So not just that you and your wife are working on these, but it could also be that you are able to extend the the business to an extent that you actually need an extra person. So from the foregoing, what you understand is WIDU was actually meant for family and friends, 100%. And so there is no cry of discrimination if I say, for example, I support 100% of the people that are related to me, because this is exactly what it was meant to achieve. So that is what WIDU was meant to achieve, which is instead of giving these guys money every time, support their business idea by offering them 25% of the anticipated cost of their business investment. So if somebody says, you know what, all I need in my life is 100,000 and I will be done, I will not come back to you. Another person will say, all I need in my business idea is actually just 500,000 and I will not come back to you. And another says, all I need in my business is 1 million and I will not come back to you. Each of those people will have had a very clear idea about what it is they want to do. They will have had a very clear idea about the volume of investment that is required for them to realize their dream. And then the third thing is they need to tell you how much money they have. And usually for WIDU, you only expect the person in Kenya, in this case in Kenya, right, to have only 25% of that money. So that if your business as a person in Kenya, you are targeting an investment which is worth 100,000, WIDU only expects you to raise 25,000. If you are targeting a business that is worth 500,000, WIDU is only expecting you to raise 125,000 shillings. If you are targeting a business which is, 1 million shillings, WIDU is only expecting you to raise 250,000 Kenyan shillings. And so naturally, the question you're asking now is, where does the rest of the money come from? Which is super good. So first, you're very clear on what it is I want to do. I want to be a tailor. I want to have a poultry farm. I want to have a vegetable business. I want to have a kindergarten. I want to have I don't know, whatever it is that people want to do, right? So, all these business ideas that are very fancy, some of them realistic, some of them just mere dreams. You raise 25% of that money. And then you reach out to somebody in diaspora, in any of the 9 countries that are participating. And there are only 9 countries. Germany is the host of this. To the west of Germany is the Netherlands and Belgium. To the south of Germany are Austria, Switzerland, and France. To the north of Germany are Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Those are the only countries from which a diasporan ought to come from for them to be able to support you. The UK is not included. Poland is not included. Czech Republic is not included. Anywhere to the east, all the way up to Russia, are not included. Luxembourg here in Europe, just to the southwest of Germany, is not included. Liechtenstein is not included. Italy is not included. But the countries I've mentioned, so Germany, and then to the west of Germany, Netherlands and Belgium, and then to the south, it's Switzerland, Austria, so Austria, Switzerland, and France. To the north, it's Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Finland is not included. You then reach out to those guys and say, hey, you are a friend of mine, you are a cousin, you are a relative of my relative, or a friend of my friend, or whatever it is, my bakule, or whatever it is. I have an idea, and this is the idea, and I'm going to talk about how to get a diasporan to invest in your business, because I think this is where the biggest problem is with a lot of us. We don't know how to seduce. The art of seduction has really been lost. But I'm going to give you tips, which is what I would do as a person. If I were in Kenya today and I would be looking for somebody in Europe, how would I do it? I'm going to tell you my own tips as a hustler, as a former borrower, even beggar. I learned certain skills in begging and borrowing, which I'm going to share with you. But yeah, so any of those 9 countries are participating. You just raise 25%. The person in those 9 countries would give you 25%. That means both of you raise 50, right? From your ambition of 100,000, you raise 50, so 25, 50,000. WIDU will give you half of that money, which is 50% of that money, which is 50,000. And for WIDU, that money is free. It's not a loan. It's not money that you refund. It is a grant. And a grant means it is free. It is money that you do not need to refund. The beautiful thing is, If you had a business of 400,000 Kenyan shillings, WIDU is going to give you 200K. That means you and your diaspora, and you raise 100 each. WIDU expects that both of you have a share of this business, that it's not one-sided. So you raise 100,000 in Kenya, the diaspora in here raises 100,000 for you. You both raise 200. WIDU gives you 200,000, and it is free money. It is not a refundable, gift. It's money that you're given. It's a grant. If you're investing on a business worth $1 million, it's not possible. The cap on WIDU is around about 800,000 by today's exchange rate, because the shilling is becoming a bit stronger, and so the euro is weaker. So the minimum you can invest, both of you and your diaspora and guy, would be 125 euros each. That raises it to 250. WIDU gives you 250, which is then making it 500. The maximum you can raise is me here. I give you 1,250 euros. You raise 1,250 euros, which is around about 200,000 Kenyan shillings. And, we both raise 400. WIDU will give you 400, as a grant. It's free money again, so it's not refundable. And I have very practical cases of people who have started with 25,000. My first project was actually one we did with 35,000 in Bomet. I gave the person 35,000. She raised 35. She had 70, and then WIDU gave her 70 plus something. I'm going to tell you what it is that WIDU also added on top. And the most classical one is actually my project, Kipkenda Poultry, which a lot of you might have seen me posting about also here on Twitter, where my manager and we both raised 200 each. So we had 400K, and then WIDU gave us 400,000 euros, and 400,000 Kenyan shillings, sorry. And that was it, So you can go from the minimum of 40,000, I think around 40,000, 250 euros, 40,000, to a maximum of around 400,000, which is then a total of either 80. If you are raising 40, then WIDU is giving you 40. To a maximum of 800. If you are raising 200, that's 400, and then WIDU is giving you 400. So that makes it 800,000 Kenyan shillings. That would be one on really, what WIDU is, what it does, and the ambition. I don't know. I had a listener here who had become a speaker, and then he just disappeared. And I don't know if any of you has a question before I go to how to look for a diaspora, and you may raise your hand, and then I just add you to speak, and we can get the conversation going, because I really think we are failing on the critical way of how to tap into people that live abroad, and be able to convert our online friendships, our internet and our Facebook, acquaintances into collaborators. Or people that help you to realize this dream. If you have any question, I would like us to pause here, take a couple of questions if they are there, and then we can go to how to get a diasporan to help you. Any question, just raise it, raise your hand, and then I can bring you on to ask it live, and I can take it. I give you 30 seconds. I need to take a deep breath. I mean, if it is clear, you can also just give me thumbs up, and then I will just proceed to the next step. Okay, I got 2 thumbs up, so that would be great. Now, let's bring this home, right? Let's bring it home, because I get this a lot. I have even just got one today. Somebody saying, please, Daktari, I beg you, please, be my diaspora partner. Please, 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 I beg you. And I'm almost at the point of saying, shut up. It's not going to work like that. And I mean, guys, let's be very practical. You all live in different areas. You are in Kenya, you are in Mombasa, in Nairobi, in Eldoret, in Kitale, in Nakuru, in the village, wherever you are. Let's take this thing. As you've heard, WIDU is about investment. If you have 25,000, I need to give you 25,000 as a diasporan. If you have 50,000, I need to give you 50,000. If you have 100,000, I need to give you 100,000. If you have 200,000, which is the maximum, I need to give you 200,000. Let's be very honest. Which stranger can you meet on the road today and tell him, hey, give me 25,000 shillings. I have a very brilliant idea I want to start and I don't have money. Which one? And I think this is where the art of seduction is missing. We no longer know how to ask for help in a way that convinces the other person. You cannot just meet somebody on the road and tell them, give me 50,000 shillings, and you think they are going to smile and say, wow, you look so beautiful or handsome, or your teeth are so white, or you speak very good Nandi, or Kipsig is okay, or English, or whatever it is. Here is 50,000 shillings, go. It's not going to work like that. Let's be honest. And we need to understand the other thing, that the other person who is in diaspora needs to provide two things with you, for you. The first one is to offer you a link. And I think I didn't mention this. As a Kenyan, you cannot register on WIDU.africa. You go to www.widu.africa. Try to register. It will give you an option of 9 countries, none of which you are, currently living in. So if you are neither in Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, France, Austria, Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, you will not proceed further. You cannot. So the diasporan has to be the first person to register, because that diasporan comes from any of those 9 countries. And after registering, the diasporan will send you a link via email. And this is, some of these things that I get. The other day I had somebody who said, yeah, I have an email. I give you, can you just invite and support me? It doesn't work like that. And I mean, I really don't know how to say this without sounding rude. I'm not asking you to beg me to help you. I'm not asking you to kneel down for me to help you. All I want is, as a diaspora, and what am I expecting? And this is the tip I'm giving you. So the first thing is, if you are dealing with somebody who is a total stranger, right? Somebody who doesn't know you at all, or who just knows you on the internet. I mean, an example is Tilingi. Tilingi and I, we know each other on the internet. I have never met him. He has probably seen me, or he has met me. I have no idea, but I have never met him, right? And if I sent somebody today to go and ask him, hey, Tilingi, can you give me 20,000 shillings? I want to start a business. There are things you will want to ask this person. Number one, what is the business that you want to do? And that is exactly the same business that I would be asking you as a diasporan. And these days, I don't ask those questions. I look at somebody saying, hey, Dr. can you send me a link? Here is my email address. Please invite me. Please, please, please. And I'm like, well, you know what? There are no details. I'm digging a hole for myself because I don't know. Do I invite you because you want to start a business of 100,000 shillings and therefore you are going to ask me eventually for 25,000 shillings? Am I going to invite you because you need to start a business of 400,000 shillings and therefore you're going to ask me for 100,000 shillings? Am I inviting you because you want to start a business of 800,000 shillings and therefore you're going to eventually ask me for 200,000 shillings? What I'm asking people to do when they look out for a diasporan is number one, the most important, be very clear on what business do you want to do, right? I want to do mushrooms, I want to do poultry, I want to do vegetables, I want to do pigs, I want to do a kindergarten, because WIDU funds that. I have a very good example of a kindergarten which is being funded by WIDU in Eldoret. the owner is a friend of mine, somebody I know from Baraton. And when they wanted to, they have started their business, it's ongoing. But when they were going for a massive investment, I said, "Hey, have you thought about WIDU?" And she was like, "No, I have no idea. What is it? I thought it was something that you are running for, people with big money." I said, "No, it's not. WIDU can also help you to finance that ambition that you have to expand your kindergarten." And we ended up working on a project which is super good. I'm not going to tell you the amount of money she got, but they are happy in that case. So it could be a project like that. We are going into a kindergarten. We are starting a daycare. It doesn't need to be a kindergarten. It could be that you've identified in your area there are so many people who are working, and there are not that many nannies or babysitters. But you want to start a business where you are actually asking these people, "Hey, bring your child here with their, milk or uji or whatever it is. I'm going to take care of your baby until midday when you come back, or until 3 p.m. when you come back, and then you can take your baby back to your home for a fee." I know somebody in Nairobi who opened a business like that, and WIDU actually funded that business. So whatever it is that the business you want to do is, you have to be very clear on A, what it is that you want to do, and two, which is probably the most important, how much money does it require to go on? If it is a poultry business, do you need 100,000 shillings, or you need 200,000 shillings, or you need 400,000 shillings, or you need 1 million shillings, or you need 10 million? Because it's not just that you have to have a project which is fitting the WIDU budget. You can actually have a project which is, let's say, worth around about 2 million shillings. And then that means you have to go 3 times. You go the first time, you get 400,000 from WIDU. You have your own 400,000. You go the second time, you get another 400,000 from WIDU. You have your own 400. That's 1.6. And then you go the third time, you have another 400,000 from WIDU, and you have your own 400,000. That's 2.4. You will have raised 1.2 of your own, and WIDU will have given you 1.2 million of their money. Because that is what happens. WIDU can go with you 3 times for the same project. And WIDU is supporting the diaspora on 3 projects. At the moment, I have 3 projects, one in Potopoto near Jemelil, another one in Jeptabaj in my own home, and of course the Kipkenda poultry. So be very clear. A, what it is that I want to do, and 2, how much money does it cost? And then the third question that you need to answer is, how much of the money that I want to invest do I have, right? Because when I get some people who come to me and they say, "Oh, Arab Jason, I have an ambition of a poultry business worth around about 200,000 because I'm very clear on the things I want to do. I'm buying mabati, I'm buying cement, I'm buying timber, I'm constructing the structure, I'm going to buy day-old chicks, or 7-day-old chicks, or 14-day-old chicks, and they are costing so much. I'm going to employ somebody to take care of this for 5,000 shillings a month, or 10,000 shillings a month, or whatever it is. The total budget is 200,000. And then I ask them, "So how much money do you have?" And so, "No, I only have 10,000 shillings, dead on arrival." So if you are very clear on the business that you want to do, then you are very clear on the budget of that business. The third question, which is very important, is how much of that money do you actually have? WIDU expect you to have 25% of that money. If the business is going to cost you 400,000, you need to have 100,000. So that when you are speaking to the diaspora guy, when you are speaking to me, the first thing you need to do is to make me believe in your business. Come to me and say, "Arab Jason, I am very clear. The business I want to do is vegetable farming. I want to do is ojot and chepkerta and whatever it is. And the reason I want to do that is because I have been doing it. Some of you probably know of Rispa. Rispa Jemta is a tomato farmer somewhere in Sanya, Ginandi County. She was already in that business before the diaspora guy joined in with her to do it. Escape to Rural, my second project in Nandi Hills. was already in poultry business before I joined hands with him. The lady in Gapke, in Saltik, was already in poultry business when I joined hands with her. But my manager, he was not in poultry business. We started that project from zero, right? But Elias is a very passionate former student of agriculture and now a practitioner of agriculture himself. And so it was easy to convince. If you then need to sell to the diaspora a very clear vision of your business. This is what I want to do. And the investment for that is so much. And the money I have in respect of that investment ambition is so much. And you cannot come to somebody and say, I want to start a business of 1 million shillings, but I only have 20,000. Please give me the money. Then you can actually do that, by the way. You can do that. But then you need to do a bit of convincing. You need to tell this person, I really would want you to invest in me because even though I want to start a business of 800,000 and I have 20,000 only, I think it is very profitable for you and it is rewarding for you to support me because A, I am passionate about this thing that I want to do, and B, I am knowledgeable about this thing that I want to do, and C, it is viable, whatever it is I want to do, and D, I know you also love it. It becomes easier if you're talking to a diasporan who is into that business of, poultry or vegetable or pig keeping or bee keeping, right? We have one of the projects that my wife is supporting is actually beekeeping in somewhere in Kiptega in Nandi Hills. And it was easy to go into that business for us. For me, I was the one who was convinced. And because I don't have space, I said, Edna, could you help this guy? I'm going to give the money to him. Because it's a massive investment, an investment of 800,000 shillings. I had to give my own 200,000 to this guy to start off the project. And it was easy for me to be convinced because, I consider beekeeping a very fascinating thing because I think it is more than honey, right? And I think I've mentioned it in Tilingi's show one time that, it's more than honey. You get honey from bees, you get the wax from bees, you get the venom from bees, which is used out here to enlarge Kipkoros for some people who know what I mean. And the wax is going into a lot of the lotions and the skincare products, and the wax is going into candles and all that stuff. So it was easy to convince me. It wasn't a big deal. But if you are going to start something like, pig farming, I'm not into pig farming. You need to really work hard to make me believe in it, right? So when you look for the diaspora and also think about, does the vision of this diaspora I'm going to talk to, does it sync with mine in this case? Or am I going to have to educate this guy on something which is totally out of this world and therefore make them first believe in me and then believe in this idea that I am pushing? So be very clear on the business that you want to do. Be very clear on the numbers behind the business. What it is what is the volume of business investment that you are anticipating. Answer the question, how much of that money do I have, right? And measure up to something which is realistic. Don't try to draw an ambition of 10 million if all you have is 10,000 shillings. It just doesn't make sense, And I think we need to be very clear. Nobody abroad owes you anything. Nobody. Not even the guys in Nairobi. They don't owe the guys in the village anything. So when we support you, we are doing it as a favor. It's not a right, because we deny ourselves something. And so, you cannot come to me and say, oh, you are subjugate, you don't support anybody, di-da-da. Well, there's nothing you can do. You have to convince me to give you my money. You cannot force me. You cannot blackmail me to give you my money. So it's all about seduction. You need to seduce that money. You need to work on convincing me that you actually deserve the support. And I think the fourth point is the nature of the relationship between you and this diasporan, because it can go either way. So remember the points, really. Be very clear on the business, what it is you want to do. Be very clear on the volume of investment that you want to do. Be very clear on the amount of money that you have already. And then the fourth one is define the nature of relationship that you want to have with this diaspora guy. And the relationship could go from anywhere from, hey, please just give me 35,000 shillings, forget about it. I'm going to work hard. One day in the future, I'm going to give you 20 jogos. It's okay. You know, if somebody has money abroad and they believe in your vision, they are going to invest in you. It's not a very difficult thing. You just need to do the convincing. The second method of, you know, relationship, and I'm talking about this because sometimes, even though it is family and friends, sometimes you are talking to somebody who is not related to you in any way, right? Not your friend, not your relative, but somebody that you really feel, hey, I'm connecting with you very well, and I would like you to help me because I think it makes a lot of sense for you to invest in me. I am very passionate. I don't get lost in alcohol. I have a track record of delivering on, you know, the little money that I have invested. And I think if I got a boost of 10 times what I have invested already, I'm going to really make more money than this. So please invest in me. Now, that kind of an approach will also require you to define what the relationship between you and the diaspora guy is going to look like. Is it going to be, please just help me, give me 25,000 shillings. I don't even have the capacity to refund that money now, but if I get it in future, I'm going to refund the money. So that's something like a grant. No, a loan. It's a soft loan. The second form of relationship, which should actually be the first, is where you are getting a grant from the diaspora anyway. I mean, we support people every month. We spend 200,000 Kenyan shillings to support family one way or the other. And if you are saying, if you supported me once, you will not see me again, then I might be convinced to say, here is 50,000, you know, go and go and try your luck and see what happens. That becomes a grant. But then there is the loan, which is, you know, give me 25,000 or give me 50,000. If you please can, I'm going to refund this money after my first sales or my second sales or in the course of 1 year or something like that. Of course, you know the way it happens with Kenya. Somebody borrows money, that person becomes an automatic enemy. If, you know, everybody who has borrowed money from me has ended up being the boss. I ended up being the one begging back the money. And I don't want to go there. Some of you have read what I have posted before on this. The third relationship, which is probably something that is attractive, and a number of us are trying to promote it at the moment, is where you say, you know what, Rap Jason, the project that is costing 400,000 joint investment, that means between me as a Kenyan and you as a diasporan, we need to raise 400,000. That's a lot of money. Because if we raised 400,000, then WIDU will give me 400,000. That's a lot of money. That means I have to give you 200,000 and you have to raise 200,000. So what you can do is you can say, you know what, give me 200,000, you and I become joint owners of the business. I will give you 25% of my business, or I'll give you 50% of my business. In my opinion, that could also be a viable way of raising the money and getting the diaspora guy that would be more sensible in offering you the support on those two fronts. A, the link for you to create the project on WIDU, and secondly, the money that you need, because WIDU needs to see that money came from a diasporan. This is, you know, on the detail side of it. When money is sent by the diasporan has to upload evidence that money has actually been sent from diaspora to the person in Africa who is investing. And I think the third option, which is, give me this money, we are going to become partners in this business. I'm going to do everything and manage it in Kenya, but you and I will become shareholders. I give you 25% of whatever it is I sell, or I give you 50% of whatever it is I sell. To me, that becomes a a kind of an easy way of opening up the diaspora. And because otherwise, if you're asking somebody to give you 200,000 and they have no relationship at all with you, I don't know how many people will give you 200,000, to be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe some people are too generous and they're going to give you that amount of money. Did I need to summarize again? So WIDU is about the diaspora who has been sending black tax to Kenya, to Togo, to Tunisia, to Ethiopia. There are about 5 countries, and Kenya is blessed to be one of them. WIDU said, instead of you suffering with this kind of endless game where you are sending money all the time, we are going to help you. Give them the money you've been giving them. We are going to give you 2 times that amount of money, so long as the other person raises, a quarter of the money that we will all have finally. And then that person needs to go into a business instead of waiting for handouts. So if I've been sending 25,000 every month to my mother, I encourage her, hey, here is 50,000, keep it. This money is your contribution. And then I will send her another 50,000 as my contribution from the diaspora. Then both of us, we've raised 100,000. WIDU is going to give her another 100,000. Then she starts a business where she will not come back to me for handouts ever again. That's what the idea was about. And like I said, it was meant for family and friends. Now, if you are finding it very difficult to get family in the 9 participating countries of Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Switzerland, France, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, potentially what you could do is to follow the 4 steps I've given. Be very clear on the business that you want to do. 1, is it poultry? Is it vegetables? And I've seen my friend from Red Royal Cakes. He's just stepped out. Arab Tot. Arab Tot is one of those people who has also received very generous, grant from WIDU to expand his cake business in Ilred. So it's not all about, poultry, because a lot of you are asking me, is it just poultry? Is it poultry? No. Red Royal went for cakes. Iska went for kindergarten. Tiborge from my village went for vegetables, organic vegetables. I went with Elias, my manager, on poultry, and Rispa went for tomatoes. And there are so many people who have gone for different things other than poultry. So don't worry. So be very clear on your business. Secondly, be very clear on the volume of investment that is required to realize that dream. Is it going to be 100,000? Is it going to be 200,000? Is it going to be 400,000? Is it going to be 800,000? And I'm talking about the WIDU part where you need a diaspora guy, because there is another WIDU part where you don't need a diaspora guy. It's called a local call. We can talk about it some other time. Point number 2, be very clear on the volume of investment. And then the third is, now you go to this diaspora guy. You don't go to a diaspora guy and say, oh, can you help me? Here is my link. Here is my email. Please send me the email. No, tell the diaspora guy, I want to do A, and I have determined the cost of doing that is going to be B. And what I'm asking you to do is to help me, A, create for me the project link and send it to me by email, and B, please invest in my vision. And then you can offer one of the 3 options that I have said. The first one is just help me, give me the money. Thank you very much. Arab Sengera, Mama, whatever it is, my brother, my cousin, whatever it is, my former, whatever formers there are. Yeah? There are so many formers these days. My wind in that direction. Or give me a loan. Give me 50,000, give me 100,000, give me 200,000. I'm going to work hard. In 1 year, I'm going to refund you that money. Of course, as a diaspora, and when I give that money, I know this is an enemy straight away. We've made an enmity with this guy. We only become friends when he returns the money without me following up, because that's the reality. It's not, I'm talking from 100% experience of 9 out of 9 people. And the fourth one is where you go to the diaspora and say, you know what? I have a business. We are going to apply to WIDU. I would like you to give me the link and please loan me some money. And what I will do is, instead of repaying, we are going to own the business 50-50. We are going to own the business 75-25 or something else in between, whatever it is you guys decide. That becomes the thing.